Hey everyone, I'm Ethan. In the month of April, I made just over $1,200 through my cooking channel, Cook with E. Now this is by far the most money that I have made in about just under 2 years of making videos. So what we're gonna do in this video is break down my earnings across YouTube, Amazon affiliates, and Patreon. Once those are discussed, we're gonna compare my metrics versus another food creator in the field, Binging with Babish, just to see how drastically things could potentially scale up. And lastly, I'll talk about how I'm trying to use this information and what some of my goals are in order to turn cooking content creation into a full-time job. And for each of those topics, I'll pop up some timestamps on screen right now so you guys can feel free to jump around to whatever you want to. I know I've watched and sat through videos where it feels like people just go on and on without actually getting to the information that you want to see. So feel free to jump around right now if you want to. And lastly, I'm just creating this video for transparency. So anyone who may be thinking about starting a YouTube channel or Instagram or really just anything of the nature kind of in the online world, to share some of my insights and my numbers so you can get a feel for it and see if this is something you may want to pursue. I mean, you may get inspired by my numbers, or you may be like, Ethan, you've made 150 videos over the past 2 years and you're making a little bit over $1,000 a month. Why didn't you quit? But I believe in the content that I'm putting out on that channel, and I'm not stopping anytime soon. So without further ado, let's hop into the numbers. So as discussed, I have 3 main revenue sources that earned me $1,206.90 in the month of April. Now YouTube is by far the biggest slice of that pie at just over 69% of the total revenue. So we're gonna look at my dashboard for the month of April. So in the month of April, I had 256,000 views, which equated to 26,000 hours of watch time, gained over 3,000 subscribers, and my total revenue for the month was $828.01. So as you can see in the revenue, you can see that I was making between $20 to $30 a day pretty consistently throughout the month of April. And then towards the end of April, I've been getting a little bit of spike that has been continuing into May now. And now in May, I'm making around $35 a day for the past 5 or so days, which is pretty good. So let's drill down into this just a little bit more. So in the more detailed view, we can see the breakdown by various videos. And as you can see for me, it's really, 5 or so videos that are making up about 80 or 85% of my total revenue for the month. Now, first up is this beginner's guide to whetstone sharpening, which has been getting steady views every day. And as you can see, it had over 100,000 views and made just under $500 in the month of April. So this video is actually a 30-minute video, and this one to me actually makes sense why it is pretty popular, because basically what I did with this video is make the video that I would have wanted when I was learning to sharpen a whetstone. So I watched countless videos and had to read several different books and all that, and basically what I did is took all that information, collated it into one 30-minute video, where the idea is someone can watch a single 30-minute video and they can go and sharpen their whetstone. Because me, and a lot of other people were having the exact same thing, where it's like, I've watched a million tutorials, but I still can't sharpen a knife. And there's definitely a need for this video because it ranks really high on search results. If you look up how to use a whetstone or whetstone sharpening, it's pretty much one of the top videos that you're gonna see. Now we're gonna move to a video that kind of baffles me of why it gets any traction, and that's my halushki video. So I made this video in November of 2018, shot it on my iPhone. It's rough, unpolished, but as you can see, it's pulling in some views. So for the month of April, it had 48,000 views and gave me over $86 in revenue. However, when I zoom out to the lifetime view, you can see it didn't do anything for a long time. I mean, I wasn't even monetized or able to monetize my videos until I believe September of 2019. And at this point, it had no views. But then if you look into March, it randomly got this huge spike right around the time when COVID-19 quarantines were happening all over the world. And I don't know if this is a correlation. Maybe YouTube was pushing comfort food or recipes that use really basic ingredients. I'm really not sure. So this video is kind of baffling to me, but it's also why it's one of the reasons that I say that you should always just keep creating things and don't worry if it's not perfect, because it's never going to be. I mean, this video is completely unpolished. It's shot on my iPhone. I just threw it up as I was learning. And now it's making me 80 bucks a month. Like, that's honestly kind of crazy. So just keep creating, putting out the videos, and you know, sometimes you'll get a random one like this where it happens. It may not make a ton of sense to me, but you just gotta keep creating sometimes, and you know, good things will happen. And all of these videos on the front end, like I've said, I've done over 150 videos since I started posting on YouTube, and each one has just been getting a little bit better, and then it's just growing that long term. That is the key to being successful. I mean, you can't do this for like 6 months and say, oh, I don't have 1,000 subs, I'm done. You know, you gotta be in it for the long haul. It's not gonna come quickly. I mean, it may for some people, you can get lucky, a video pops off really early, or good to go, but for a lot of people, that's not the case. There's tons of videos out there, tons of content to be watching. You have to put out consistently good content that gets views, and over time, it definitely will work out. Now let's talk about another really important metric in kind of the YouTube space, and that is going to be your CPM. And this is what we're gonna use to help extrapolate some of my figures into Binging with Babish's numbers. So if we look on screen, I have a CPM, this is a cost per mil, basically 1,000 monetized playbacks. I make $7.78. Now you'll see that I had 183,000 monetized playbacks, but if you remember, I had 256,000 views for the month. So my monetized playbacks are 71.5% of my total views for this month. And another thing to note, that this CPM is based off of the total amount that the advertiser pays YouTube, not just me. So let's drill down a little bit further into this. So if we drill down and add the secondary metric of YouTube ad revenue, it's gonna show the total money that YouTube brought in for the video. So here you can see my $7.78 CPM times 183 is going to give us that $1,427.41. Now obviously YouTube needs to take their cut, so they're taking 42%, leaving me with $828 in this case. And as you can see, various videos are going to have different CPMs based on what kind of the target audience of the video may be. So for people looking to sharpen whetstone, they're probably looking at maybe buying a new knife, or maybe they're looking at buying a whetstone. However, that halushki video is going to have a much lower CPM because it's really made with like pantry ingredients, so the viewers for that probably aren't looking to purchase things, and thus it's probably gonna have a lower CPM, which in this case it does. So here are the key metrics that we're gonna use as assumptions when calculating these numbers for Binging with Babish. So what we're gonna do is take my 71.5% of the monetized playbacks of his total views, then we'll multiply that number times my CPM, since we are in the same demographic. I mean, I don't know if it's exactly the same, but it's probably a reasonable assumption. And then lastly, we'll take away that 42% of YouTube's cut to get an estimate of the money that Binging with Babish may have made in the month of April, and it's pretty shocking. So I've hopped onto Social Blade and brought up Babish's views for the past 30 days, which for the sake of this, we're just gonna call it 55 million views, which honestly, this is crazy to me even to fathom just how many views that is. So let's assume that 71.5% of that 55 million are actually monetized views. So that's gonna leave us with 39,325,000 monetized playbacks. Now, if we divide that by 1,000 to get our multiplier for the CPM, that leaves us with 39,325. We take that times my $7.78 CPM, and we're left with $305,948. So Babish is only gonna earn 58% of that money if you take out YouTube's 42% cut. And again, I don't know, maybe he gets better cut rates because of popular videos. I'm actually not sure how YouTube may show preference for larger creators in that case, but we're gonna use the 58%. That leaves us with $177,450 for Babish to take home. And I mean, that's not too bad for a month's day's work. And for me, this is really inspiring and cool to see. I mean, Babish is really just a one-man show doing this. I mean, I know he has some business partners and people who help him out a little bit now, but I mean, for the bulk of this, it's really just him. He puts out the quality content, makes the videos, and for me, someone in my position, it's really inspiring to see someone like him just going out and getting it, because, you know, it makes me want to get there one day. You know, you gotta think really big sometimes, and you know, even if you make it to a 20th of his success, I mean, we'll take the 177,000 divided by 20. I mean, you're still taking home like just under $9,000 in YouTube ad revenue for the month. And like I say, that doesn't include things on his videos where like a sponsor sponsors it, like Skillshare or Squarespace, or I think he's been doing some like whiskey or wine things. Like I'm sure those sponsors alone are probably paying him, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 just for a single video where they're putting a little advert on his video. So it's really cool to see these numbers and just how potentially big it can scale up. But like I said, that's only YouTube AdSense. Now we're gonna move to the second source of revenue that I have used, and that is Amazon affiliates. So in April, I made $307.76 off of Amazon affiliates, representing about 26% of my total revenue for the month. And for those of you who may not know, Amazon affiliates is just links that you put in the bottom of your video, or if you had a blog, you could maybe put it on the blog and just say, hey, I use this knife. And then if people click on that link and purchase something through it, you get a small kickback through of what they purchase. You know, it's normally like 2, 3, 4% of the actual sale price. And it doesn't actually cost anything more for that person to purchase it. It's the same price if they would have just went onto Amazon of their own volition and ordered it. So it's an easy way for creators to, you know, get supported without, you know, you're not costing anyone anything. It's just a good way to, you know, throw some links up and get some extra cash. So let's dive into my dashboard and look through this a little bit. I feel like there's not many videos that have actually gone through kind of Amazon affiliate marketing. So this should be pretty interesting if you guys like this kind of stuff. So on my main dashboard, I have $302 of fees and $5 for bounties. So bounties are just Amazon like referrals basically for things like Prime or Audible. You can see that this was an Audible digital membership, and you just get a flat rate from Amazon. So if we take a look at my fee summary, you can see that I had 3,916 clicks, which gave us 304 ordered items. 239 of those were actually shipped, and our earnings for the month were $302.76. So if we drill down into my earnings for the month, you can see that the daily advertising fee can fluctuate a good bit more than something like YouTube. You know, down here, some days were as low as just 36 cents, but there were also days that were as high as $29 in a single day. And the Amazon affiliates can really vary day to day because some days people are gonna buy things, some days it's gonna be higher priced items, some days it's gonna be maybe just a single item. It really just depends. So we'll hop into a day and I can kind of show you guys a couple examples. So if we take a look at April 29th, you can see some of the items that were actually ordered. So obviously we've got some whetstone, we have a stainless steel knife, more whetstone. We've got The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. This sounds like a book or something. And then there are some interesting just things that on here, like I didn't have a link for online controlled experiments, a practical guide to A and B testing. Someone must have clicked my link, and then they also added this to their, you know, their cart when they were at Amazon and happened to order that too. So I actually get the credit for that, even though I didn't leave an explicit link for, you know, this book or practical guide to A and B testing. And as you can see, I mean, most of these are probably from my whetstone sharpening video. We've got a lot of whetstones, but then there are things like Le Creuset, some measuring cups, and there's a variety of things on here that, you know, I didn't necessarily leave a link for, but I get credit for that because they went to that link and then purchased something else on Amazon. So you can see how this is a pretty interesting way to earn some extra money as a creator online, because it doesn't have to be the specific item purchase. It can really be anything after they click on that link, you are actually going to get credit for it, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So now let's do our comparison to Babish. And this one's not gonna be a super accurate way to do this, but let's try it anyway, just for the sake of the conversation. So I had 3,916 total clicks in the month of April. Now we're gonna divide that by my total number of views, 256,000. That's gonna leave us with basically 1.5% of people who actually viewed it, actually went down into the description, clicked a link, and went from there. So if we take Babish's 55 million views, multiply it by that 1.5%, that leaves us with 840,000, and I'm just roughly rounding for these, 840,000 clicks through Amazon affiliate links. And I know he puts them in some videos, but I don't know if he has been lately. So again, this number is maybe a little bit off from what we think it is. So 840,000 clicks, and then if we take my conversion rate, which is going to be 7.76%, it leaves us with 65,000 ordered items. So if we take those 65,000 ordered items, mine equated to about $1 an ordered item. So let's just conservatively call it $1 for an ordered item. That's bringing home $65,000 in Amazon affiliates. Now, like I said, that may not be super accurate, but I mean, you say it's half of that, or maybe a third of that, you're still looking at like $20,000 to $30,000 in Amazon affiliate links. And that's another great source of income for someone to make. And like I said, all you have to do is just throw a link in the bottom of your video. Like, you've already created this content, so why not open up another avenue? And as you can see, I mean, it can be pretty big. I mean, for the month of April, mine was 26% of my total revenue, which I really didn't expect much of anything to come from Amazon affiliate links, but I've been pleasantly surprised with that little extra kick. And you can see once we start growing these revenue sources, it can really help you on getting to a level where you can hopefully start doing this full time. So that's going to wrap up Amazon affiliates. Let's lastly talk about Patreon. So Patreon is a way for people to just directly support, their favorite creators through either a one-time or a monthly payment. So we're going to hop into my Patreon page. So for the month of April, I had 12 patrons that pledged $83. However, obviously Patreon is going to take their cut, but it's much, much less. $5 for the payment processing and just $6 for the actual platform fees. This is going to leave me with $71.13 for the month of April. So for me on Patreon, I have my tier set up at $3, $9, and $20, figuring most people would just stick to the $3. And primarily most of my Patreons are, family and friends, though I do think I have 4 or 5 that I don't know personally, which is pretty cool. And like I said, it's people who are gracious enough to, support a creator with, a straight up donation, further than, just watching or following along. So that's a super cool way to, help especially young creators, early on creators, to help give them kind of a little bit more of a little bit steadier income. I mean, as you can see, this is going to stay a little bit steadier, and that it's coming every month. Whereas with, YouTube and Amazon affiliate, those things could fluctuate a lot depending on your views. Say 1 month, like this month, I do really good for my views, but then what if that drops in half next month? Then I lose half that YouTube revenue, lose maybe half the Amazon affiliate. But if I still am getting, this $70 or so from Patreon, that's something that's good to have in the back of your pocket to always have that kind of consistent income. So what we're going to do is take a look at Binging with Babish's page, and you can see, I mean, this can get really, really big, and this is a very steady stream of income. So on Babish's page, we can see his membership levels of $1, $3, $5, $10, and $20. And each various, level gets you something different. And in total, he has 2,370 patrons. Now, he doesn't have his earnings listed on here. You actually can do that if you want to. But if we take a conservative, let's say it's $5, because, there's going to be some people who are $1. There's probably a lot of them. But, there probably is a good chunk of those people who are $20 per month patrons as well. So we'll take $5 times his 2,370. And that gives us $11,850 more for the month. So you can see that's another sizable revenue stream for him. And like I said, this one is fairly consistent. Say the views and everything dropped off next month, hopefully a lot of these people would still stick around and help support him. So you can see how this is really diversifying your revenue streams to kind of be able to weather various storms if they do arise. So for my month, I made $1,200 in total through these 3 revenue sources. But now let's take a look at what Babish's total is. So we take his $11,850. We take that plus the 65,000 estimated Amazon affiliates, which, like I said, may or may not be accurate. It could be a little bit less. And then lastly, we're going to take the YouTube AdSense money, which should be a fairly accurate number. That's going to leave us with $254,000 for the month. That's a single month, and that's really cool to see. Like I said, basically a one-man crew who is going through this and creating great content. And like I said, that's just 3 sources of revenue. That doesn't count things like his cookbook. I don't know if he has merchandise. I think he does aprons, but I don't know if he does things outside of that. And then, you know, sponsors on his video. So you can really see how this thing just starting out from that very beginning, I mean, he's been doing it for several years now, but it can really snowball into a, you know, a big enterprise, big business thing that is really cool. I mean, he can control everything he makes. You know, when you get to that level, you only pick the projects you want to do. You make all the stuff that you want to make. You have a really loyal fan base who, you know, they're going to be okay with you putting out whatever you want to put out, and have really passionate people who are into what you're creating. That's a really cool level to get to, and, you know, hopefully I want to get there too one day. So to wrap this video up, we're going to talk about what some of my goals are, you know, using this information for, you know, the rest of the year. And number one is obviously grow the 3 main streams that I have. You know, that one's pretty obviously. I want to keep growing those as well. But number 2, and probably more importantly, is I'm realizing I should really be having more revenue streams. And there's at least 6 or 7 different things that I think I can implement pretty easily. For one, I've been toying around with the idea of starting a Skillshare course for cooking. I believe it was an Ali Abdaal video I saw where he was making around like $100 or $160 a day from Skillshare from people watching a video editing course. And I've looked at some of the Skillshare videos for cooking. They're not very well done. You know, I think I can do way better at explaining things. Kind of like that whetstone sharpening video, that'd be a great example for that. So that's another thing that I've been toying around with, creating a Skillshare course. Additionally, I want to create some new affiliate programs. So for example, Dowstrong is a knife company. They recently reached out to me about potentially joining there. I'm currently testing one of their knives. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. But evaluating these different, you know, affiliate programs outside of just Amazon affiliates. And then I've been also toying with some live streaming, maybe just while making, you know, I've also been toying with maybe the idea of live streaming, you know, making dinner, you know, like 3 times a week. I feel like that's a cool way. Harris Heller has some really good videos about, you know, streaming and making money in the business side of things. That has been inspiring for me to watch. So that's something I've also been toying with. And then another big portion for those large creators, like I said, is sponsorships. So I still need to grow out my, you know, my social kind of capital a little bit more. TikTok has been good. I think I'm around like 150,000 on TikTok, and then YouTube is around 12,500 now. So when I can start packaging everything together, I could maybe start reaching out to some sponsors that I want to work with. And I think that is the big thing. It's like sponsors that I do want to work with. So for me, like Skillshare, I mean, I personally use Skillshare, so I would love for them to sponsor video. Or Squarespace. I have a Squarespace website where I post all my recipes and things of that nature. So I would, you know, love for them to sponsor it if I'm already using it. So I think that's, you got to be a little bit careful when getting sponsorship examples. I've had some companies reach out to me for products that I just really wouldn't use, so I'm not going to sponsor it on a video if I wouldn't use it myself. And I'm thinking about creating a whole nother video about, you know, potential revenue streams that I'm looking to incorporate. So if that's something you guys are interested, definitely let me know. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed, you know, this video and the breakdown. Hopefully you got to see a lot of, you know, real numbers for, you know, a small YouTuber. You know, like I said, I'm 12,500 subscribers, been doing this for, you know, a little bit under 2 years. I've made 150 videos. So whether that encourages or inspires you, you guys can let me know. But that's going to wrap it up for the video. If you found it valuable, subscribe and drop me a like. That's going to wrap it up for me. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.